Well, it started 20 years ago with a goal of building a better search engine. Google has since grown into a titan of the technology industry, now under the Alphabet umbrella. Joining us right now is two key figures of the company's success. Executive Chairman of Alphabet and former Google CEO Eric Schmidt is here, along with Google's former Senior Vice President of Products, Jonathan Rosenberg. Great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks as always.
You updated the book, and it's a perfect time to update the book, given what's happening in terms of Google's influence. And we're gonna get to that. But first, I want to ask you about one of the top stories, obviously, in the news this morning, and that is Verizon, AT&T pulling most of the ads from Google. Eric, obviously, this is a huge piece of business.
Well, it's important. You know, what we do is we match the ads and the content. But because we source the ads from everywhere, every once in a while somebody gets underneath the algorithm and they put in something that doesn't match. We've had to tighten our policies and actually increase our manual review time. And so I think we're going to be okay.
When you see companies sort of tripping over the idea that, oh, we didn't know that our ad would be in this particular spot, that's why they're pulling it. Can you ensure that that algorithm doesn't happen again, where they're putting the ads in a place that obviously is not where these companies want them?
We can in this case, but because the ads come from everywhere, every once in a while an ad will come in that was sort of, somebody was trying to sneak it in, if you will, get underneath our rules and violate our terms of service. So we can't guarantee it, but we can get pretty close. You
know, it's interesting because Google really has changed so much, and it's been so important in terms of information flow. And you've got, in the wake of yesterday's attack in London, Jonathan, when you look at a company like Google with the reach that it has, even a Facebook, Twitter, they're doing more to mitigate the spread of extremist material online. Tell us how that fits into the way Google has changed.
Well, I think the big challenges that we focus on in the new chapter are really the issues around scaling Google. The original version of how Google works really focused on how the internet, mobile, and cloud computing came and disrupted the technological landscape and shifted the balance of power from companies to consumers, so product became the most important thing. So what we're focused on now is organizing around the CEOs who can have the kind of technical insights to build products that solve these kind of problems.
And how do you do that?
So we focused on, so Google is a holding company that consists of course, Google first. One of the big benefits there is that Google gets to focus on Google. And then we have brilliant CEOs who are running the separate companies, Nest, Fiber, the Access business, Verily, Waymo, DeepMind, Sidewalk Labs, Calico, and of course the venture groups. So they're focusing on the things that matter for them across culture, innovation, decision-making, communications, the kind of things that we talked about in the chapters of the original book.
In fact, in the book, what we say is organize around the people who have the biggest impact. So in particular, Larry and Sergey decided, why don't we just organize around Google and then separately take the people leading these initiatives and put them in charge of their own companies. No company at our scale has ever done that. And it looks like it's a huge success for two reasons. One, we obviously have the new things going on, Waymo, for example, self-driving cars, all of that going very well. But the core business got a new sort of dose of focus, and that's produced extraordinary results in the last couple of years.
That is, and you've been able to create that much more value for investors by creating...
And frankly, I should say more than I expected. In other words, the value of focus in this division that, again, Larry Page led, really has delivered to our shareholders in a way that I don't think any of us quite expected.
But I want to get back to really the reach and the influence of Google and YouTube. I mean, obviously, this has become much bigger than a lot of people expected in terms of its influence. Well, and as a result, does a bigger responsibility fall on the leadership at the company to really make sure that the right things are online? I mean, how do you control the extremism on YouTube, for example?
YouTube, for example, went from about 100 million hours watched per day to 1 billion hours of YouTube watched globally every day. That's an extraordinary platform and an extraordinary responsibility. My own view on most of this sort of extremist things, as well as fake news in general, is that it's essentially a ranking problem. Right? We're very good at detecting what's the most relevant and what's the least relevant. It should be possible for computers to detect malicious, misleading, and incorrect information and essentially have you not see it. We're not arguing for censorship. We're arguing just take it off the page, right? Put it somewhere else. Make it harder to find.
But that's the thing. People are feeling that it is harder to find.
Well, that will get fixed. And it will get fixed, especially, it's a big problem in social media, in my view, because social media thinks in terms of links, not ranking. Right, and there's undifferentiated linking. It's like, I'm going to link to here and here, and all of a sudden they've discovered what they think is a woman who's a passionate activist who's in fact a computer, right, run by the Russians or whatever stereotype you have.
So can you see everything quickly that's out there? I mean, when you've got the bad guys posting things, how quickly can you get around that and shut it down?
Well, we certainly can see it. Our computers can see it. The algorithm for shutting it down, or more properly, de-ranking it, takes a little time.
Yeah.